Hey, it is the King of Connecticut, and I am happy to be back here on the Hannibal TV with Larry Mazza. Larry, how you doing, man?
Welcome back. Couldn't be any better.
Thanks. It's great to be back here in Florida. Feel like I'm in the Blue Lagoon down here. I love it, man.
Yep, we're able to live our lives.
Yes.
It's nice. It's nice. We got a good
Nice.
governor.
Excellent.
Yes,
We're not
yeah.
bad. We're not too bad in South Carolina.
No, you're good.
You know,
As a
we're
matter of
pretty good.
fact, I think the representative there, Scott, made a nice speech the other
I
night.
did, yeah. Tim Scott.
Yeah. So, yeah, we try to stay a little away from politics. But,
Sure.
You know, the
Sure.
guy was good, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope he stays around too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He may have a run in the future
Yeah.
for office. You know,
That's
we don't
right.
want to talk about politicians because
No.
most politicians are scumbags. You know, I was just telling you that
Yeah.
story.
Well,
Yeah. So
I see, you know, there's a certain percentage of every walk of life that is corrupt or bad.
Yeah.
And every race, every, police,
Yeah.
FBI, there's a, which I can attest to.
Sure.
There's a percentage. They're not all bad, but there is a percentage. Politicians, the percentage is
politicians, it's like
It's a higher percentage.
98%.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know how they came up with that word? Politics. Okay. Poly meaning many,
Yeah.
ticks meaning blood-sucking insect.
That. Yes.
So that's why they're politics.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it fits them.
Yes.
It fits
So,
them, and there's
yeah.
a lot of politician and lawyer jokes we could tell.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, but we're not here to do comedy today.
No.
We're here to talk about a pretty awesome topic. You know, we got into a few things in our last
Well,
discussion.
based on the book,
Yeah.
you know,
Show everybody the
yeah,
light.
it's still moving at a, it's selling great. It's been wonderful and humbling. Guys like De Niro and Armand Desante been very, very receptive to it. I think we mentioned last time I actually was his consultant, De Niro.
Yeah.
And I got into The Irishman, so many good things have come from it, and we're still speeding forward ahead with a TV series. I'll be hosting a show on gambling this fall.
Awesome.
By the time football season comes,
Awesome.
as my producer launches his network platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, super great stuff is happening. So we're probably gonna get together a few more times, I would think.
Yeah, I got a great gambling
Yeah.
tip recently with that Jake Paul fight with Ben Askren, because I talked to a buddy of mine who had been sparring partners and training partners with Ben Askren. And he said, guys off the coming in, the low-level amateur, low-level pro fighters, MMA fighters, would destroy Askren in boxing and
Right.
sparring. But Askren, you know, was an Olympic wrestler, national champion wrestler, but he didn't have the boxing, and
It depends on the rules of the event.
that's right.
Like when McGregor fought Mayweather,
Yeah.
it was very tough for McGregor to win that fight.
Yeah.
Pure boxing rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you put him in a cage where McGregor can kick,
Yeah.
grab, take him down,
Yeah.
I don't think Mayweather stands a chance.
No, and I don't think Mayweather would do it.
He
either.
wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's you hit it on the head. Especially an amateur.
Yeah, Mayweather's such a smart fighter too, because he's been the point of boxing, and you know as a striker and in karate's combat sports athlete, you box yourself. The point of boxing is not to get hit.
And counter.
Yeah,
Counter.
exactly.
Or for miss. So McGregor missed, he got hit 2 or 3 times.
Exactly.
But anyway, it's But talking about the gambling end of it, very, very big action on MMA now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
from
yeah.
Vegas down to the islands.
Definitely.
So you may come on the show as a consultant when we have the big fights coming up, because the people want information. They want to know why a guy is 4-1 or 3-1 and then he loses.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this has been boxing too, and I saw it so much in MMA, where they would build guys up with tomato cans on the small level, and then they get into UFC. One guy, I won't mention his name, was considered unstoppable in South Carolina. I cornered against him and destroyed my guys and made it to the Ultimate Fighter reality series and got destroyed himself because he was beating the cans, and that's how the promoters,
a lot of
they
times
build
that happens
guys
in
up.
boxing too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But so the gambling end of it will be real interesting for us.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's no corruption in that 1%
Yeah.
corruption there can cause a lot of problems.
We're going to talk
But
about
we'll see.
corruption.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about
Well,
corruption today, but before we do, I just want to say one crazy thing going on in the combat sports world is my broadcast partner, UFC Hall of Famer Stephen Bonner, who everybody on the channel knows. I've been here on Hannibal TV with him in the past. American Psycho. He and I have been challenged by Pat Miletich, UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich. Everybody knows Pat had all the belts from his camp at one point in UFC. And his broadcast partner, who I call Diarrhea of the Mouth, Jeffrey Wilson.
Can't shut up.
Yes. These guys have challenged us in the cage to a tag team match. And I'm going to have you help me with my striking for this. Everybody knows my wrestling. My striking's always been a deficit, and I don't want these guys to get over on us in this.
That and footwork.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know that. I mean, if you get your feet tied up the wrong way, you go down quick.
That's right.
So, no, that'd be fun to train.
We're going to have some fun with this, thing. But the main reason we're here again, and again, it's great to be here at your bar here, and we've got the pictures Armand Asante, Robert De Niro. These guys portrayed gangsters on TV, but you were the real deal. And I want to start off with a quote that I was told by Phil Baroni Sr., who was a Gold Star detective. Everybody on this channel knows. I was very tight with Phil and his son. I managed his son in UFC and Pride. He told me, he says, if you want to be a gangster, the best thing to do is have a badge. And
it's being proven over and over that that's the way to go. It's in my book. It's pretty much public now that my boss, the Grim Reaper, had a badge for 30 years with the government. Whitey Bulger, up close to your neck of the woods. There's probably a lot more of that going on. It only comes out, when it comes out, somewhere along the way. But that's the best advice to give a guy that wants to go into a criminal life. Get a partner in the feds or the police department. Probably the feds, the FBI, they look for that type of thing. So, but and then what did Carlo Gambino say? He said the difference between me and a politician is I don't need a license to steal. I love that. This is Carlo Gambino, like the old quiet Don, from the past. But he even knew, it's just, it's almost a game at a certain level.
And that's an interesting point, too, you brought up, is Carlo Gambino and the way that the life you got started is supposed to be secret society. And do you think it's kind of come back to that? Because you don't hear so much about guys in the limelight.
Well, I don't think there's anybody out there of the same stature where the media wants to follow them around. Like some of those, think of those personalities. John Gotti, the list, Sammy, Greg the Grim Reaper, you go on and on back that way. But from the 90s on, there's no names. There's people that you never heard of that wouldn't be there if it wasn't that it crumbled. So I don't know if it's, but I think they're changing the rules a little bit. I think, I've heard some things like they're trying to back off the killing, which I had said for a long time, it got too easy to kill. And that causes a lot, obviously, problems. It's a life sentence and sometimes a death penalty, depending on the circumstances. And most guys ain't not going to accept it. So I had said just keep beating them up, and eventually they'll leave on their own. So maybe, and it sounds like they may be headed in that direction, and they'll survive. They'll get 5-year hits, 3-year hits. Some of them will do life on a consignment because they can't stay out of trouble.
Exactly.
I got some dear friends that are in and out, and they just don't, want to move on. But yeah, going back to the badge, it's in my case, there was a ton of corruption on it. I would never mention names because I'm not looking for trouble with them. They know who they are. Okay, there was an agent or more. There was, prosecutors. Who knows how high it went up? But they allowed a corrupt agent to get on the stand
and lie, right?
And lie. And just let him talk like he was, meanwhile he was in bed with my boss. They were together, so, and there's guys doing life. It's changing a little now. Guys are getting out, they're winning appeals. There are some changes in the law that they have some hope. But, it is, I got a friend of mine, Mike Sessa, who's in for about 33 years already. His brother, Carmine Sessa, was the consigliere who ratted on everybody. And he, got his couple of years and went on when they were through with him. And this kid, Mike, is still away, but I heard he got an appeal based on some, they missentenced him.
Okay,
There was something with one of the laws that it didn't pertain to him.
Okay.
And now he's gonna go in for resentencing, and what's happening, you know, he really, and especially with the corruption, he was railroaded. You know, he's not an angel,
Yeah.
and he was guilty of things, just like I
Yeah.
was, and he knows that, and he accepts
Yeah.
it. But, you know, enough is enough, you know,
Yeah.
33 years, you let the brother go in too, who was
Yeah.
way worse than this kid could have ever been, you know. And also fess up, you know, that it was cheating, get him the right way. I have a cop that I grew up with, Tommy Danes.
yeah, you told that story,
Yeah,
yeah,
I argued with him a little bit, because I thought the ends justify the means.
sure.
And he says, no, they gotta get you the right way, or the whole system is wrong.
Mhm.
So, you know, depends how you look at
He was
it.
a good cop, though. He was
Yeah,
a
he
good
was.
cop in
Very
that
good
regard.
cop, yeah.
Now
He was in
talk
the book.
about that,
Yeah.
because he's in the book, and the way that you two grew up,
Mhm.
and it's crazy, because it's almost like you reversed roles at a certain point.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, you know, up to about 18, we were doing the same things. You know, we would Angelo defend this place,
Mhm.
boxing, we talked about that. You know, I was in martial arts earlier, he was in martial arts for a while, but went quickly over to boxing. And, about 18 years old, he was gone. Nobody saw him for a while. What he did was he knew he had to get away. He was starting to get bad habits, he was hanging out with bad crowd. He took a car trip to Vegas to see if he could start over, and he found himself getting in more trouble in Vegas. So
Yeah.
he turned around, came back, took the test, got on the department, and just something. And I remember earlier on in my life, when he would come over to my house, he'd see my father in uniform. He was always something about that. He was like in awe.
Yeah.
And my father was a fine lieutenant.
Yeah.
So he had that uniform, he had that respect. The whole neighborhood liked him, and I always remember Tommy gravitating to that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I was supposed to gravitate to that, which I did.
Yeah.
For the most part, until I gravitated to
Yeah.
the girl, you know.
Yeah.
But no, Tommy went on to be a decorated detective, and he's got a great story coming out, the mob cops.
Yeah, you were
With
talking
two-
about
again,
that.
two
Yeah, you
corrupt
gotta be in
cops
that, yeah.
That were, you know, killing for the mob. You know, and he spearheaded the case along with other guys like Joe Ponzi, and I think the prosecutor on that was Mike Vecchione.
Yeah.
And they're all part of this story that's gonna come out. Same producer I have, so.
Yeah, you know, I have a thought on that, because what you were saying, when you're growing up in certain neighborhoods, especially in a lot of the older neighborhoods in the area we're from New York, the kids there can look up to the cops, but they can also look up to the gangsters. But they both kind of look up to them for the same reason, because they want power. They want power and respect,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the fact that there's guys like Baroni and these other guys that are corrupt cops and corrupt FBI agents, it's really not all that surprising, you know, when you actually think about the psychology of it, right?
No, it isn't. It isn't. And that's what makes it more admirable when a guy really does it the right way.
Yeah.
And lives by that and gets decorated and gets awards like Tommy did. You know, he
Yeah.
could have easily, and like I said, with his upbringing, you know, you would think he'd easily go the other way.
Yeah.
You know, I had no disrespect to him, but he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
So it's you know, it's worth noting.
Yeah.
You know, and I wound up in prison for 10 years, so go
Yeah.
figure.
Well, you know, the last interview we had,
Mhm.
people really enjoyed the Nikki Black
Yeah.
story. So, is there another hit story that you?
Well, you know, there is. There's a bunch. I mean, I could. We'll the more we meet, we could talk about different ones. But the one I would bring up, it was the very last hit that we did, and it was a good fellow in the family named Larry Lampese. And him and Greg were at odds over some monies and things like that. Plus, he was on the other side, so you know he was a target. But we made him a bigger target because of the issues.
Yeah.
And we get information, again, obviously we know where it comes from now, his partner, that this guy leaves his house at about 3:30 in the morning, because he goes to his school bus company. He owns a school bus company with the boss of our faction, their partners.
Oh wow.
So it's weird, it's a crazy, crazy thing. But we were all getting really, really irritated and discouraged that this war would not end. We couldn't end it. So it got to the point we said, maybe shooting somebody, and this sounds terrible, but you gotta understand, we were up against this nightmare, maybe we need to do worse. Maybe we need to like massacre a guy. I remember us having this conversation, showing that we're done.
Yeah.
You know, we got to get this over with. So this guy, just like clockwork, 3:30, he's backing out, and we were told he's going to get out of his car and go lock the gate. As he gets out of the car, we roll up. We get out, and the three of us, Greg, myself, and Jimmy wasn't supposed to get out, but it was part of the, just this, I can't even think of the word, this misery in our bodies that we just, again, you know, here we are again, you know. So Greg had the rifle, I had the shotgun, and Jimmy had a pistol, and we just opened up on him. He went down. He was telling us, "Do it already, get it," or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because as we walked up to him, he got shot already.
Yeah.
So he knew we were coming to
He
finish
knew it
him.
was over.
Yeah,
He didn't want to suffer.
yeah, exactly. And Greg had said later on that he said, "What did I do?" And Greg told him, "You're on the wrong side," but that didn't happen. Greg embellished that story after, and the reason I say that, it was used in court, and it was never said, but it was used in court against defendants. So because it sounded good, it showed, oh, there were two sides of, you know,
Yeah.
there was, but that sort of was big evidence, you know. So anyway, we all, and Jimmy finished him with a couple to the head. It was a brutal hit. I mean, but the war was brutal, and
Yeah.
guys on our side would get hit brutally. So again, it's just a circle, you know. None of us, or me and Jimmy, would never do that outside the circle of that life we were in.
Sure.
Not, again, it's hard. I'm just trying to, you know, people watching can understand. I'm talking about it like it's business, and at the time it was.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. Do you think that hurt overall the Colombo family, that there was that kind of unrest within and war within the
There's
family?
been many wars in that family.
Yeah.
And more than many wars for the last 40 years.
Yeah, yeah.
There's always been something, because Junior was in jail so much.
Yeah.
And they thought he should step down, and then he comes back out, and you know, and he puts his brother as boss, and then he comes back out. So there was always unrest.
Yeah.
This, it's sort of, I guess, popped.
Yeah.
You know, like a pimple that keeps growing.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's
You
gonna
just wanna get it.
And
yeah,
now
yeah.
it was like, nah, it's got to end. And it erupted, and there were two sides. They had, you know, about 120 buttons, and we had about 40. But we had all shooters. That was
Yeah.
the difference. And they had money guys. So they had the better weapons and the better this and that, but they didn't have enough guys to use them.
Yeah.
We were out with old-fashioned weapons, shooting every day.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, it was crazy. It was crazy. But that last one was definitely, you know, they go to Nicky Black Kid because there was a personal issue with me and him.
Sure.
And it was also graphically portrayed, and it's,
Sure.
you know, it doesn't look nice. But this other one didn't look good either. I can promise
Yeah.
you that, you know. But you know, like I said, there was a few of our guys that went down too. So
Back to the Nicky Black, if
Yeah.
people didn't see it, you can watch it here on Hannibal TV. And that was a close range in the car with
Yeah.
the shotgun, just within a foot away.
yeah,
You know, so imagine how gory,
Yeah,
you know, that was.
It was. But like I said, that was a little personal. He just sent a message through my uncle that he was going to kill me.
Yeah.
So,
And now, was your Uncle Albert on
Yeah.
the other side of the family?
well, he was, but he wasn't active. He was older.
Yeah.
He was unfortunately under Nicky Black. in
Yeah,
rank,
yeah.
So he had to stay put, you know. But he was, you know, but he was never going to turn on me. And he's the one that told me.
Yeah,
He told me,
yeah.
blood, stick it in water. Don't ever forget that. And I said, I know that.
Talk about a tense
He's my
situation.
godfather. That was my
Yeah,
godfather.
yeah, he's your uncle
Yeah,
and your godfather. That's such a
Yeah.
such a tense
Mhm.
situation.
Yep. So.
Yeah, unbelievable. Now, is there any message that you'd want to give to the folks here at Hannibal about where they can get your book? Because we didn't really get into that.
Yeah, well,
as much last time.
basically, I held the rights because I always felt it would be a movie or a TV
Yeah.
series. There's so many tentacles, I say,
Yeah.
between the love story, the corruption, the war, and even, you know, just the life itself and then the aftermath. It's a long story
Sure.
for me. So, you know, I held it, so you can get it at the website, my website. It's www.larrymazza-thelife.com. www.larrymazza-thelife.com. Every book comes signed by me personally. I spend a lot of mornings just signing books. I got to do 17 tomorrow, and I enjoy that. I think I owe it to the people that are kind enough and supporting me. So that's where you order the book, and I appreciate it.
And I got to tell you, Larry, as an author myself, that book, it's an amazing book.
Thank you.
And I tell you, I was
Yeah.
at the beach the
Yeah.
last couple days,
Yeah.
because I came down here in Florida, and I took it to the beach with me, and I didn't have time to get into it as much
Yeah.
when I was in South Carolina, and I had to go up north for a while.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I read it, and
Right.
I'm
I
about
appreciate it.
2/3 through.
Yeah.
And the one aspect of it, and I kind of want to close with this, the takeaway for me as I read it was the greed of Greg.
Yeah,
And I'm talking about
yeah.
Greg Senior now.
Yeah. Big difference between the
Yeah.
Junior. Junior was, he was like his father in the life, just like I was becoming that way, and at the end I was. You're trained and you're groomed. So I give Gregory a big difference, from him and his father. And he'd lend you money without torturing you or charging you big for the rest of your life. Greg Senior won. Everything was about the money. I've said some things in the book, like I don't think he loved anything more than money, including his family. And I'm standing behind that. That's my opinion. I know some of his kids may feel hurt by that, and some don't. Some don't. They understand what I'm saying, But he wasn't, he's not the only one.
No.
There's a lot of guys up there that are just, listen, here's the message I'll give. And I've been saying it, I might have said it the last time I was on. If I did, I know you'll edit it out. But you don't need that life to make a good living.
Yeah.
And you don't need that life to get respect. I get as much respect, if not more now, because I don't have the other half that hate what I represented. And I make a good living between my wife and I, my gym, selling books, my consulting, and I don't have to pass any up to the boss.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Yeah.
It's mine to spend. So
and it's not to say that everybody in your old life was so greedy.
No, not everybody.
But in his case, and that was what you'll see when you read this book, Greg just, and to me, it comes down to this, and I know this is a generalization, but I think in general, a lot of people, the people who have the most money are the stingiest with it in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that happens. They don't want to part with it. And there were things I can go on and on, like even when we had the fake credit cards, that's how I got my nickname, Legitimate Larry. I wouldn't use the cards. I didn't think it made sense. I says, I'm making a lot of money in the gambling business. Why am I going to go get arrested for $100?
Just for a meal, right? Or something, or a bar tab.
But again, he knew he wasn't going to get arrested, and he's told me that the food tastes better when it's free.
Yeah, it's free, Well, I mean, there's some truth to that.
So, anyway, the other great thing we're going to do today
Yeah.
is we're going to go see Carlos.
Carlos,
Carr.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give a brief because he's my dear friend, and
Yeah.
he wrote the theme song for the life, and